Hi, I'm Laura Soden with Five Senses Literature Lessons. And in this difficult time we're having right now, all of our homeschool conferences have been canceled. But I want to give you that experience of what it'd be like to come visit me at a table at a homeschool conference. So we've set up the table, and I'm going to talk you through all of my products. We're going to start with going down through red and come up through green. My program is designed to be a color level system, so you don't have to know what grade your child's in. Sometimes your child might not be ready to do everything every other 6-year-old is ready to do, and that's okay. Our program's designed to let you not worry as much about grade level as about developmental level. I'm an occupational therapist, and I've written all of these curriculums myself after homeschooling my own 3 children. And all of the programs I wrote to be something easy to pick up, easy to use, and enjoyable for you and your child. So let's go down to this end of the table. Our first program we offer is Red, and it's for 3 to 7-year-olds. We have a program that's a farm unit study, and with this adorable little program, you're going to get about a month of activities to do. And I tell you everything you're going to want to do with your child: a nursery rhyme to sing, a activity that's going to build their hand muscles, something usually with Play-Doh or something else that they can handle, and some physical activities like ring around the rosies, so that you know your child's developing as a whole person. We're not just worried about academics, but really real developmental steps that children need to take. Each of their programs, you're going to read a great book and then do a little unit based on that book. These are both books that go with the farm unit, and I adore each of them. Otis is such a sweet little story. Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type, I hope you've heard of. And I also have suggestions to go with Peter Rabbit. All of my programs, I've tried to integrate stories from my childhood and newer stories, so you get a wide variety of literature to share with your child. And I make it usable so that you can transition to a different book, add in extras, or take away depending on your child's attention span. No 2 kids are alike, so you want to be able to adapt what you're using without having to really adapt what you're using. So I tell you how. The next program I offer is Orange Level Wonderful World. Wonderful World was the first program I wrote, and it's my answer to what kindergarten really should be. It's recommended for ages 4 to 8, and I've got several users that bought it to use with their kindergartner, but found that their 7 or 8-year-old really enjoyed doing the activities too. Unlike other programs, I'm not going to ask your 5-year-old to enjoy architecture or ancient poetry, but each lesson does have a memory verse, which is usually a nursery rhyme, something that your child can work on developing verbal skills with. While we're at it, they're going to build those fine motor skills some more with Play-Doh and other fun hands-on things. And each unit in this program focuses on something children find interesting. It's also based around a children's book. But we're going to learn units on transportation, things like buses, The Last Stop on Market Streets, our suggested book for this story. And this story and its whole unit is available as a free sample download on our website. So you can try before you buy. Kids love things like buses, and we're going to bring it alive and learn about your city through reading the book and doing the interactive activities. This program also has, I've emphasized adding stories with girls, such as Annie and the Wild Animals. Children of lots of different backgrounds. There's a Around the World unit in Wonderful World, where your child will learn a storybook from each of the continents. So you travel around the world and get an opportunity to talk to your child about the larger world later in the program. We include also Rainbowfish, one of my kids' favorite books, as you learn about the ocean and bigger ideas at the end of the unit. The entire program is divided into smaller units that you can pick up and use at any time, And it works to start it at any point in the year, any season. Despite the fact there are units about a single season, you can start with spring if that's where you are in your year. Moving up the table, our next program is Foundations and Fundamentals. Foundations and Fundamentals was my answer to how do we teach letters and numbers and shapes and colors in a more interactive way. How do we take those topics kids need to learn and teach them in a way that's going to work for your child? 2 of my children struggled with learning reading and writing, and I wanted a program that would have helped them at about age 6 to really grasp letter sounds, how to write, and what to do with literature in a different way than anything else we were using. So our teacher's book is going to also take you through a storybook, just like Wonderful World. Every lesson's based around a beautiful little book, and it's going to bring that letter sound alive. So for example, when you learn about M, you're going to read about monkeys, like the lost little monkey. You're going to tie that sound to an activity, like the little monkeys jumping on the bed. When I teach S, I suggest the story Cricketer. So your child actually gets to make a snake out of Play-Doh and then turn that snake into the letter S to bring the letters alive. This program is our only program that requires a workbook. All of our teacher's guides, you can basically work from as a digital format. You can pull it up on your iPad, read your lesson plan, and move on. But this, you're going to need to print the workbook. Now, we offer our workbook in a variety of options, left-handed, right-handed, and there's a version that we offer for children that need something larger, something that goes a little slower. So you can choose which one your child needs at our website. The right-handed book is called Tangerine, left-handed is Apricot, and for children that need the larger print, for a little more fine motor work, it's Pumpkin. Let's look in the workbook. So for each letter story, we're going to give you your page that you know what's coming up this week. There's going to be a sample page for the sounds. You're going to then make a sound book with your child where you work on the sound X of X and draw a picture of something that goes with that sound. Over the course of the program, you're going to do every letter, and your child's going to build their own book of sounds. So they practice reading big letter, little letter, X, X, and the picture. And this picture should be something you and your child draw together, or that you've taken a picture and put into the book to help them see what something that makes that sound. You're going to reinforce that then with make writing. Now, in this book, I give you directions to make your own manipulatives to learn about the letters. At the very front, let's open it up. Print these out and put them on foam and cut them out. And you're going to have your own set of letter manipulatives. I've got a couple here. And you're going to have your child for each letter make the letter with their little foam pieces. So you practice making it in a multisensory way. Each lesson also tells you something else to do to make this letter multisensory. Depending on the letter, I mix it up so that you can easily create a more interactive experience of teaching letters. The workbook pages are designed this way so that your child can make the letter really large and gradually smaller. Target writing into the boxes allows them to understand how big the letter should be, as their X is going to stretch from corner to corner inside the box. And last, they will work on putting it on the lines. This is a way to help children learn to write that slows it down, helps them learn about sizing and spacing in a way that will make their handwriting better for the long term. These lessons also teach shapes that you can color, and we give you a page about numbers. Every lesson has something about numbers that you're going to learn to match socks to count by twos and other hands-on activities that help the numbers become alive. Now, these pages are designed with these squares so you can get Unifix cubes or math cubes and have your child work on placing them on the squares to practice adding and subtracting as you learn each number. We go slowly up through 1 through 10 and then a little quicker from 11 to 20. And it's your homeschool program, so you can decide if you want to slow down or back up for your child. Now, as I said, we have a program that's designed by an OT. So the letters don't go in alphabetical order. And the program also stops to teach drawing shapes. Too often, children are pushed to write letters before they can really draw shapes. So with each section of the book, you're going to practice drawing. So for example, here I'm teaching your child to draw a rectangle before they need to work on writing letters like L that require the same motion. This is going to help your child be more successful with writing and enjoy their education more because they can be successful. And that's really what we want for our kids, for them to be successful. Moving up the table, our next offering I suggest for ages 6 to 10. And this was my answer to where should we start teaching U.S. history. Too many homeschool U.S. history programs don't really cover Native Americans. So in answer to that, I wrote a program that's 14 weeks, 14 separate unit studies about Native Americans. Each lesson is once again based on a picture book, so your child doesn't have to imagine what a teepee looks like. They can actually see a picture of one to help them understand the story better. I believe we too often ask children as young as 6 or 7 to jump from picture books into chapter books, and that we shouldn't do that. Pictures help us understand what's happening in the story better and help your child visualize a lot more information than they would get out of just listening to the story. Each of these lessons is going to teach you not only the history, but I've got art projects, hands-on activities, science videos to watch that are live linked. So if you're pulling this up on your iPad, you can just turn on the video for the day. And other activities that are designed to be ones your child will enjoy. We include recipes, so your child can experience the total of their 5 senses as part of their education. All of the programs actually include a recipe or several because I love to eat. And we're going to make it so that your child remembers their education so much better by doing things like eating and experiencing making things, touching things, doing things. They're not just going to listen to that story. It's an interactive type of learning. This program also works well for children that have learning challenges because I've got notes in there for you to adapt it for your child's learning style so that your child isn't trying to be forced into a box of writing before they're ready. If they're ready to learn, I'm going to explain to you how to write for them, how to get the most out of your education without having to do everything at once. I'm going to show you a couple of books in that program because I really love it. I took a lot of time selecting the books for our history program. The program starts with Journey to Cahokia. And this book is actually written by an anthropologist about the mound builders. The mound builders are no longer a civilization. They died out about 1,000 years ago. But you can read about them, learn about, look at these beautiful pictures, learn about their life, and start with learning about how Native Americans were here long before settlers came to America. The program then is going to take you, excuse me, I need to pick these up. around the country, all of North America, as you learn mythology of a lot of different tribes. This is a great interactive way for kids to learn how to relate to a group of people. There are a lot of beautiful books. This is one of my favorite, The First Strawberries, about the Cherokee people. It's a creation type story about strawberries. So you get the opportunity to teach all across the country different tribes through their mythology. Another story I really enjoyed was The Woman Who Outshone the Sun. This is actually a story from the Zapotec of Mexico. So I wanted to go with this book, with this program, further than just tribes of the United States. So we've included some stories from beyond the United States, this one from Mexico, and a couple from Canada. So your child is not just learning American history, but North American history. After the unit on mythology, you branch into a unit on actual historical events. I include in that Crazy Horse's Vision. This beautiful book helps us understand the process of how the Native Americans were pushed onto reservations. It's a very accessible and beautiful book that you can use with a young child that's not going to be too upsetting for them to learn real history. We want to start teaching our kids real history, but I know we don't want to traumatize them. So our books are carefully chosen to help you teach the best possible history in an age-appropriate manner. The last section in this book, in this program, we're going to talk about modern Native American children, because Native Americans are still here today. So the story of the Jingle Dancer is a really beautiful little book about a little girl and her family today. So your child doesn't walk away thinking Native Americans were only part of history, but they're still here today. Another modern story is the Sky Sisters from Canada, and it's also a lovely book that talks about the Northern Lights. So your children throughout this entire program are learning a lot of science lessons about geography, geology, and biomes. Each book we tie into, if there's an animal or a place, your child's going to learn about that animal and that place through videos and other things that help tie all of their education together so that they get that little unit study about each book. I've also added a comic book that's lovely and without any words. And this is available, The Wool of Jonesy, through Badwind Studios. Just something else that helps take this example of learning about Native Americans in the modern world. Our pug has joined us. The last program for me to share about with you is Children of the Longhouse, or Green Level Unit Study. The entire study is based on the single chapter book, Children of the Longhouse, by Joseph Brucrack. And you can read this book along with your child, chapter by chapter, and each chapter has something for you to do with your child in here. So, I'm going to explain to you, though, how to use it in the front of each of my programs. Each program also has a color-coded system to help you figure out what subject areas you're covering. I make everything so easy, it can be hard to remember you're actually teaching a lot of different stuff. So these little dots in each program help you see that you're actually teaching language arts and life skills and science and history as you go. We've also got symbols in them for YouTube videos, tips from me, extra ideas you can do, and other links to the World Wide Web. Each program has a supply list, and most of our supplies you can find at a big box store to make it easier for you. And with our green level Children of the Longhouse program, we're then going to have each chapter tell you several ideas of what you can do with your child to help them take their learning further. One of the things I loved about this program was we also were able to tie in several health lessons that come up in the story. And because one of the characters has a disability, I'm going to teach your child about people with disabilities a little bit. I passionately want our children to learn about working with people that are unlike them. So I've tried to integrate that into all of the programs, but this one was a real delight. I suggest this program for ages 8 to 12. Depending on your child, they may be ready for it earlier or later. It's possible, even if your child struggles with reading, for you to read to them to make this more accessible for them. I keep it hands-on so that even kids who struggle with traditional programs are going to be able to enjoy this program. The single chapter book could take as long as 1 to 2 months, depending on how fast your child moves through the program. And while I do integrate math into all of these programs, for the most part, I recommend your child will need an additional math program. Thank you so much for joining me here at our 5 Senses Literature Lessons table. To learn more, you can visit our website at www.5sensesll.com. That's the number 5. We have sample lessons. I keep a regular blog that you can read about all kinds of homeschooling tips and tricks. You can also join our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and see us on Instagram. In addition to all of that, if you sat through this whole talk, I've got a coupon code for you. For the next 2 weeks, if you go on our website and use the coupon code Rainbow2020, you're going to get 25% off all of our products. I hope you'll come visit us, sign up for our newsletter on our website, and let me know what you think. Thanks so much for joining me today.